Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. Ciao, come stai? Questo è Sagar Shah. Oggi ti insegnerò italiano ed è per questo che parlo in italiano. Well, nothing big. Right now I'm speaking in Italian because I'm going to teach you the Italian today. Thank God I'm not going to teach you the language because that's horrible for me. But what I'm going to teach you today is the Italian opening. And what I said right now was, hello, how are you? This is Sagar Shah. Today I'm going to teach you the Italian, and that's the reason why I'm speaking in Italian with you. Yeah. So, welcome to everyone in the chat. Good to see you guys. And today we're going to finish off the chapter of Italian with the main line system. Welcome to Mayur Gondalekar, Atharva Pathak, Tarun Yadav, B.S. Korche, Nihilesh, Rahul Kumar, Rachit Shah, Nikhil Maskara, Tarun Yadav, Jancy Wilson, Nirlok Wadekar, Sahil Bhatt, Ilam Parthi. Mayur is talking to me in Japanese. Mayur, unfortunately, no line in chess has the Japanese variation, so we cannot say that. We cannot speak in Japanese. So, couple of things. Today is also the launch of Chess Base India sale. So please go to the website and check out whatever you need to buy from the Chessbase shop. Lot of different DVDs, Chessbase 15, Mega Database, Opening Encyclopedia, whatever you need. This is the best time to get it. Apart from that, today morning was very nice lesson that we had with Samay and Biswa. And today evening is a match that we have where I'll be playing against the comedians. It's going to be very interesting. I should be the favorite to win, but still, it seems like, I haven't played a competitive game since a long time, so will be fun to see. Okay, so while I was preparing for this class, I spent a lot of time thinking about how to work on teaching you this system. Because after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, I somehow felt, Yash Kucharia, thank you so much for the super chat. No, I didn't forget you, but there are so many names, so I just missed it, but thank you for your super chat. By the way, Shashank Ashwath is here, and good afternoon. Well, Shashank, it must be really late in USA, so thanks for joining in. Yeah, are we going to have pizza with chess session today? Italian, yeah, so the pizza reference. No, Shriyana, you haven't missed anything important, just me talking in Italian, if that was important. So when I started to think about it, first of all, I have played one game with black in this system. So the basic idea is that in what I want to show you yesterday, we looked at the b4, which is the Ivan's Gambit. We looked at d4. We looked at castles and d4. We also looked at c3 and d4. So we looked at all aggressive lines. But nowadays, the main line has become c3, knight f6, and d3. And this is how white plays. To tell you the truth, I used to find this extremely boring. I used to feel, what is it here? There is a pawn in front of a pawn. He's going to play knight f3. You will play knight f6. There is one knight here. You will castle. He will castle. Then d6. He will play bishop e3, you will play bishop e6. Like, it looks so symmetrical. But just by looking at the games of the top players, I realized that Italian is very deep. There's very big understanding behind it. For example, when you play d6 and bishop e6, should white take the bishop, allowing fe6? Should you play rook e8 and bishop e6 with the idea of taking on e6 with the rook? There are so many little intricacies that you have to see when you are playing this. Like, even for white, should he go for a4 line? When he goes a4, should black place his pawn on a6 or a5? And there's no real correct answer as such, but only if you play a lot of games will your understanding improve. Okay, so that's the main thing about this opening. Let's try to check out a few moves. I would like to begin with a game Kirill Alexei-Enko versus Harikrishna, because this is the game where I can say there is a lot of things related to the Italian which you will understand. So bishop c4, bishop c5, and here white castled. Okay, so Harikrishna with the black pieces played knight f6, white went d3, d6 was played in the game, c3, and now a6. And this is usually how black plays. I think many of the black players are afraid to castle here because of the move bishop g5. They don't want their knight to be pinned, because if you haven't castled and he plays, let's say, a6 bishop g5, then you will play h6 bishop h4 g5 without any worry, because this pin is not so dangerous over here. And even if he sacrifices a piece, it's not a big deal. But when you castle, let's for example say here castles bishop g5, then somehow you are always thinking whether you should go g5 or not. Because now if knight into g5, hg5, king, bishop g5, is this dangerous? That is the question. So many people just wait for, they play a6, a4. By the way, it's completely fine to castle bishop g5, h6, g5. That sacrifice is fine for black. It may be interesting, but it's not bad. a4 was played by Alexei-Enko, gaining space. And then here came the move h6 by Harikrishna. I feel like h6 is somehow sometimes not required. You can just castle and not be afraid of bishop g5. But, h6 is possible. Even bishop a7 is a very interesting move. The idea is that the move d4 doesn't come with a tempo. So that's why many times they just play bishop a7. h6, rook e1, now castles. h3, stopping bishop g4 ideas. And now rook to e8. Can you tell me why bishop e6 may not be such a great idea in this position? Let's try to understand bit by bit here. Why do you think bishop e6 is not so good? Yeah. Thank you, Shashank, for watching the streams after they are done. And thanks for the advice on how to use this mic. Shashank sent me a mail with a link saying that I shouldn't be talking like this. I should be speaking to the mic. And that's when I started to use it much better. And now I'm very comfortable using it. So thank you. Yeah, first of all, bishop e6, very good. Fe6. And now my general understanding is that this structure could only be good for black if he can drum up some counterplay like on the f file, you know. uh, I was thinking if d4 is possible, but here a move like d4 means just simply bishop a7, and black is doing okay here, you know. Even if you take, I'm going to take with the knight. Knight takes, pawn takes, and I think with this pressure on f2, black has a fine position. But maybe just b4, gaining space on the queen side, and after bishop a7, you go knight d2, and this is a very nice position for white. Sometimes black tries to go aggressively, putting the knight on f4 and so on, but I think after, say, knight f1, knight f4, bishop f4, rook f4, and this position in general seems at least slightly better for white, you know. Not very big way, but let's say you go knight e3 perhaps, or you go knight g3. It seems possible to play. So definitely, you know, this is one way in which you can play with black, but I think b4 with the idea of bishop a7 gives white a small edge. Like I can even go bishop e3, exchange these bishops, and this structure somehow feels a bit uncomfortable. It's about feel. I think Ilam Parthi suggested the move queen b3, but I think Ilam Parthi, he won't go queen c8, he will go queen d7 here. And the point being, you can't take this rook f b8 traps your queen. So that's the reason why it's not so good. So no need to play queen b3 as such, but you can play moves like b4 or a5, and then bishop e3, knight d2, and play a normal position. Okay, let's move on. In the game, he played rook e8. Now his idea is to play bishop e6 and then take on e6 with the rook. a5 was played. This is kind of a new move. Previously, a5 hadn't been played so much. So Harikrishna went bishop a7. Now, one of the reasons why bishop e6 was not played, which looks natural, was because after bishop e6, rook e6, I think what white was afraid of, or black was afraid of, was d4. And you can see that now the bishop is attacked and d5 is coming. So takes, bishop b4, good move. Otherwise, you move the bishop and d5 just loses a piece. So bishop b4, d5, bishop e1. If you take on e6, I'll just save my bishop back. Let's say bishop into a5. So knight e1, rook takes, d into c6, b into c6. And I think that this position is complex and interesting. Black has two pawns and a rook for two pieces, and it's playable. So that is the reason why I think bishop e6 was not a bad move, but Harikrishna first removed his bishop, and now with the idea of playing bishop to e6. So you are white now. How do you continue in this position? How do you put pressure? What I want to show you through this game is how exactly there are little nuances in this opening which need to be considered. Small things. White to move. Nigel Paris, thank you so much. Says love from Cambodia. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, knight bd2 or bishop b3 will be met with bishop e6. So I don't think that would be particularly great. Yes, Kushal Chess, Nihilesh, Vidit Fan, very good guys. Queen b3. I like this move very much. First of all, it prevents bishop e6 ideas because then the b7 pawn would be hanging. And so that's the reason why Queen b3 was played in the game. By the way, if you play bishop b3, I think already bishop e6 is very good. If you take, I'm going to take with the rook, and black seems okay. If you play bishop c2, here is a very typical move in such structures. I want you to understand some typical ideas. How should black continue here? Black to move. Yes, very good. Yash, you are also right. Queen b3 is the right move there. Yes, Mayur, Queen b3 is much stronger. How should black continue? nh5, ne5, queen h4. Interesting. Ilam Parthi suggests a very innovative way to play in this position. Ilam Parthi, I agree with you that this is not a good move because of queen h4 and you are winning. But I think what if I play d4? And usually when you take your knight to the side of the board, this is a problem. Like you take, I take back, and knight b4, maybe bishop a4. It seems like white is pressing here. Knight will develop to c3. But something better, something stronger, something more central. Yes, Prasad Nidum Kala, you are right. Nidumukala. Vasanti, you are right. I don't know, the Sheikh Life. Arnav Dhamija, you are right. Ayush Kuber, very good. Excellent. d5 is the correct move over here. And I like this move. The reason is that you shouldn't be afraid of giving up a pawn, let's say like knight into d5, because after knight e5, usually this tactic fails. Can anyone tell me why this tactic fails? To what reason? What is the strong move here for black to move? e5 pawn in such situations is never hanging because of a very specific reason. Black to move. Yes, Kushal Chess, you are right. Ilam Parthi also absolutely right. Knight into e5, rook into e5, and now comes the very surprising strike, bishop into f2. And this always happens because when you take, I give a check and then I pick up a rook. And if you don't take and you play king h1, then after queen d6, I feel that black is clearly better. Bishop f5, you can see black's development is complete, while white is just very, very passive here with his pieces. So again, this is one of the good ideas to keep in mind. And I feel like you can even take with the bishop. This also should be perfectly fine. Taking with the knight is also good. Okay. So in the game, queen b3 was played, which was a good move. And now Hari had to decide, like now d5 is not possible. Bishop e6 looks difficult. So he played queen e7. And now white went bishop e3, good move. Takes, rook b8, so that he can develop the bishop. And now white to move. You will see that black is all ready now to play bishop to e6 next move if he gets the chance. But white is on his toes. White is on his toes. How should white play? What should white play here? Ilam Parthi, very good. D4 is the correct move. Let me see if anyone else has also found this answer. Nihilesh, Kushal Chess, excellent guys. D4. And you're getting my point, right? That this opening is actually very interesting in the sense that also there are many more people who have got D4. Chess variation, Vidit Fan, Dev Agrawal, Dr. Drunkenstein, Pradeep K, Amay Kanitkar, Mayur Gondalekar, Harsh Pandit, Navirat Navi, Mitesh Borkhetaria, Tanushri Samui, Pranav Jujare, Kabir Goyal, Jasleen Singh, Delay L. Very nice. And D4. And if now, let's say, I play bishop e6, then of course d5 would be very strong. And if you take, I can take back with the pawn, and you really cannot take on e4 because of knight c3. And then this is hanging. This is hanging. There is a lot of pressure. Jadeja Vijay Singh, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, Are, good afternoon. Nice to see you, Jadeja. So rook b8, d4, and now Harikrishna played b5, but you can see that after ab, if he takes with the rook, then after queen c2, this pawn is weak. Somehow things are looking not so great. And so he took with the pawn, but now came knight d2, b5, bishop f1, queen c7, d5, knight e7, and c4. And before Harikrishna even knew it, he was completely worse and he lost this game. Actually, this was a very critical round in the World Cup, round number 3, and Harikrishna was knocked out because of this game. b4, queen a4, and then rook exchanges, knight b3, and well, in the end, white won this game very nicely. So you understand these little subtleties in the opening where black is trying to go bishop e6, white is trying to stop it. White is looking at the ideal opportunity to expand and break in the center with d4. Now while I was trying to see how to show you these lines, I was so confused because imagine, okay, here after bishop c5, d3 is one move, c3 is one move, castles is one move. Then if I play, let's say, to c3, knight f6, d3, now a6 is one move, castles is one move, even a5 is one move, d6 is one move. There are so many variations and so many things which keep changing in this line, that what I decided was that I will try to show you some important moments in this opening, try to improve your understanding so that you will be able to play it well in your games as well. Okay, so that's the main idea. Let's first begin with the games of the one and only. Can you think about who is the player whose games I must have selected to show you? Any ideas? There are around 5 to 6 games of that player, but just the key ideas. I won't be showing you the entire game, but the key ideas. Can you guess who is this player with black? Can black go a5 instead of a6? Yes, Anjaneya, it's possible, but a5 comes with its own bag of problems, which is like a5, then knight could go to a3 to b5, and that is also a problem. Sometimes bishop from c4 goes to b5. Earlier, no one used to play a5, but now it's becoming popular. So what is theory is nothing but what top players find something new and then play. And so many times a move which was supposed to be bad suddenly becomes good. And that's how a5, I think, is perfectly possible. With it, says everyone, with it, Kasparov, Spassky. Yes, Dharmesh Zalawadia is right. It's Mangesh, as you call. Well, that's the name that the comedians have given to our world champion. Of course, that's the Indian version. None other than Magnus Carlsen. Yeah. So we're going to look at Magnus Carlsen's game with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Yeah, actually, Caruana is also not a bad player. Caruana is also pretty good. Bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, knight f6, d3, a6, castles, and now d6. Magnus likes to play it this way. He tries to delay castling, bishop b3, and now he brings his bishop back. So white played knight bd2, and now he castled. My basic understanding is that he's waiting for his opponent to develop the knight and then castle, so that bishop g5 is not possible in those positions. But again, bishop g5 is not such a dangerous move. So knight d2, castles, and now rook e1, and black to move. What would you play here as black? Now think something different. Think how should black continue? Yes, guys, please like the video and please like this stream. That would be very nice, very kind of you. Yeah, Amay Kanitkar gives a nice example. He says it's like Shivaji's strategy. When the opponent comes in the range, then you attack. Until then, you build your setup. Yeah, something like that. Like white builds up his setup, also black, and then suddenly there is a big fist fight and someone comes out on top. Very good, guys. Prasad, Vidit Fan, Suryan Shwarma, Avyaya Bhatt, Dr. Drunkenstein. Well done, well done. Knight to g4. But this is not the only move. Knight e7, as recommended by a few players, is also not bad. Putting your knight on g6. Knight h5 is also suggested, which is also not at all bad, because knight f1, you can go knight f4, or perhaps you can begin with queen f6. So there are a lot of different ways to play this position. Also, I was thinking, how about rook e8? With our same plan, let's say if knight f1, then bishop e6, and you're going to play in the same way as such. Or maybe you can first go h6, stopping bishop g5 and knight g5, and then go bishop e6. Seems also good. But knight g4 is aggressive, and Magnus played this in his game against Rodriguez Villa, who's a 2400 player, and Magnus was 2880 at that point. So not a very balanced match, but fun still. Rook e2. And now what should black continue? This is a continuation of the plan. Black to move. Jasleen Singh, knight e8 somehow seems a bit passive to me. I don't see it as a bad move, but why do you want to make your knight passive? Black to move. What should black play? Yes, very good. Suryan Shwarma and Ilam Parthi both get it right. King h8, preparing f5. That's the main plan. Very good. Shivant, also Avyaya Bhatt. Well done. h3, and now once again, black to move. Find a good move for black. What should black play? Many people say f5, but the pawn is pinned. Please notice here, when the king was on g8, the pawn was pinned, and so now after king h8, h3, what do you play now as black? Black to move. Yes, knight h6 is a good move, but I think even more interesting is f5 here in this position. Very interesting chess, because if you take hg, I can play fg, and then I have pressure down the f file. Also, where can the knight go? Say knight e1, then I have queen h4, and this is already very, very strong initiative. And if you take e into f5, then now knight h6, now I want to take on f5, and so g4, and now black to move. Usually such pawn grabbing stuff is not going to work. How should black punish his opponent? Black to move. Yeah, Mayur, knight into f2 is not particularly strong here, so you have to go for something else. What should black play here? Yes, Nandini Krishnan, very good. Very good move, Nandini Krishnan. Anyone else who's found the move? G6 possible. G6 is not particularly great, because after knight e4, your own knight is hanging on h6. Yes, knight into f5. All those who mentioned this move, knight into f5, well done, guys. The thing is that after gf5, bishop f5, this is tremendous compensation for black. H3 is hanging, f file is open, and I would even say that white has a very tough task to defend this position. So even h3, f5 is good, knight h6 is also fine. The point is that Carlsen played f5 next, and he got a very good position. He went on to win the game against Rodriguez Villa, and this is an instructive idea in the Italian. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at another game of Magnus. This time it's against the strongest female player in the world, Judith Polgar. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, castles d6, c3, bishop b6, a4, knight f6, b4, threatening to trap the bishop with a5. So a5 was played by Magnus, b5, knight e7, and now d3. Black castled, white played bishop g5, and now I think just knight g6, knight d2, h6, bishop e3, c6, bishop a2, d5. You can see that how nice central pawns black has, and white must do something immediately. CD, ed cd, rook e8, and now rook e1, rook e8, c4. What should black play here? Black to move. Find the strongest move here. Black to move. Okay, just give me a second. So let me see if you got the right answer here. E4, very good. All those who said E4, excellent job, guys. Very good. I'm very happy that you were able to find this active move E4, and this led to a lost position for black, because for white, because after take the knight really can't go anywhere. There's no space for the knight. So Judith resigned after a few moves and Magnus won. So that's an idea to remember in such positions, like, you know, you can castle, play knight g6, push c6 and d5. Just push yourself forward. Okay, let's look at one interesting game. This is against Kazgalayev. Kazgalayev is a top Kazakh player. E4, E5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, knight f6, d3 castles, bishop b3, and now came the move d6. And my question to you is, what would you play here if your opponent played bishop g5? So I want you to be ready for all sorts of ideas. What should black play? Yes, Mayur, sometimes, you know, it's difficult sometimes when you're facing a player like Magnus. You can miss moves, and Judith just missed e4, was very strong there. I'm very happy to see everyone suggesting the move h6. Good move. Okay, I go bishop h4. That's the most testing move. What do you do? Black to move. Many people fear this pin because the bishop is outside. It can no longer break the pin. But you shouldn't. Okay, Ilam Parthi is brave and says, I want to play g5. Absolutely. g5. And let's try to look at both the moves now. One is bishop g3 and another one is knight into g5. Let's look at knight into g5 first, because it you are planning to sacrifice. And how should you continue here with black? King g7 is suggested. Samay, thank you so much for sending so many people to this stream. Very nice to see. Yeah, bishop into f2 looks very interesting, because if he takes knight g4 or knight e4 and queen g5 would be good. But I think after bishop f2, king f1 can be a very dangerous way for white to continue, because next move will come f3, and then you may have to take advantage of this entire thing. For example, if you play king e1 with the idea of rook f1, then I go d5. My idea is to break the pin with bishop e7, ed5, knight a5, rook f1 suppose is played. Now bishop e7, and black has defended himself. Also remember that a move like, let's say, queen g3 with the idea of giving some kind of a discovered attack loses after knight h5, attacking the queen and also the bishop. And then after, let's say, queen h4, you can play the move f6, and black is winning here. So these are some of the defensive ideas when you play h6 g5. So I would say this line may continue knight a5, and then you must try and save this bishop. Let's say bishop c2, bishop e7, queen g3, and let's say knight g4. It looks scary, but once you understand the concepts, it seems like you can defend it here. And black is better because after, say, h3, you have the move, say, e4. Very powerful move. Now the idea is to go with queen to e5. So therefore d4 is logical. And now maybe rook h8. And you can see how tactically black is defending himself on every move. So let's recap a bit. Like if your opponent goes g5 and goes bishop g3, then I think already you have a very strong move here, which is played by several GMs in this position, which is knight to h5. Yeah. And the problem, the point is that if you play knight into e5, this is always a threat. Yeah. Whenever knight h5 is played, you must look at some discovered attacks. Then knight takes g3, knight into c6, and now comes a powerful move. Can you tell me, black to move? How should black continue? How should black win the game? Black to move. Bishop f2 is possible, Ilam Parthi, but much stronger than bishop f2. Yes, Nandini Krishnan, you are absolutely right. Suryansh Verma also right. Queen f6, and you're just winning. Yeah. Knight g3. Yeah, this just doesn't work. And if he doesn't take, then you can next move maybe put your knight on f4 if required. Otherwise, I think black is doing fine anyway. So coming back, like knight into g5, h into g5, bishop into g5, we looked at bishop into f2 check. Also, I was thinking of king g7, which is not so silly. But then after queen f3, there is definite pressure. Because if it was white to move now, he would play something like h4. And here it becomes difficult to get play. Like, I would really like to play rook h8 here and try to get myself out of this mess, but after say something like h4 or knight d2, it seems like black has white has enough play. So I wouldn't recommend this way to play. But instead of bishop f2 instead of king g7 in this position, you can also think about a move like bishop g4. Not so silly, because he cannot take here. If bishop f6, then bishop d1, bishop d8, then bishop b3, and black is winning. But now after queen d2, what black can actually do here is, let me think how to improve here. Can we go king g7 in this position? That's one idea, to play king g7. The other one may be to go, I don't know, king g7, or yeah, I like this. And now the queen cannot come to f file, although there is bishop h6, king h8, which should be in black's favor if you take. Like, if you take, then I can just take queen f8 and this should be fine. So you can understand why people are a little bit skeptical when bishop g5 is played. And that's the reason why many times they actually wait to castle before, knight d2 is played. But well, I think you shouldn't be afraid of something when you know that it's not the best. Like bishop g5, you can go h6, bishop h4. And here many players have also played, instead of g5, bishop e6 first. It's also possible. Knight d2. And now, yeah, several ways to play, although queen e7 maybe looks pretty okay. Suryansh, king g7, bishop h6, king h8. Not a big problem. So let's move ahead. In the game, bishop g5 was not played. I was just trying to explain to you why bishop g5 is good or not good, all the intricacies of it. And here in this position comes a very typical maneuver, which is knight to e7. And knight to e7, usually the problem is that white can play d4 because the knight is gone, and because the knight can no longer support e5, then you have to take, and this gives white a very strong pawn center. But in this particular case, you have a check here, and so it seems fine, to play this with black. So knight e7, I think you can also think about bishop b6 here, because after de, you have knight e4. So right now, knight e7 is not a problem. He castles, and you go knight g6. The knight moving from e7, c6 to e7 to g6 is a very, very common maneuver in the Italian for black. Knight d2, c6, d4, queen c, bishop b6, rook e1, rook e8, bishop c2, now h6, just improving the position, knight f1. And now what should black play here? Black to move. Black to move here. What should black play? Yeah, knight on g6 is not bad. I mean, it's pretty strong. Well placed here. Can always jump here, try to create some play. Queen e7. Okay. Nihilesh, yes, very good. Dharmesh, very good job. Vidit Fan, also you are right. Neev Patel, good job. D5. This is an interesting move. The point being, after knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes, and bishop f4. You can already think of an exchange sacrifice. It's not so silly. This is some compensation. Although I would say you should play here knight into e4. And then after bishop e4, de, say queen d8, rook d8, rook e4 is impossible here because of rook d1. And this is usually how these central pawn breaks work. You know, it gives a lot of initiative to black. I mean, in general, black is able to equalize without any trouble if you get d5 at the right moment. In the game, Carlsen played knight h5, and after knight e3, he played knight f4. And yes, slowly he managed to win the position, but I think after knight f5 here, white is doing quite well. Okay, let's look at another game. This time it's a weaker opponent, a 2100 player against Carlsen. I think it was an online blitz tournament. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, castles, d6, d3, knight f6, c3, a6, h3, bishop a7. You can see how he's not castling very soon. Rook e1, and now he castles. And again, we have the same question, what to bg5. But I think once again, let's just see here. And now, two things can happen. One is knight a5, just winning the bishop here. That's possible. Or you go g5. Knight into g5, h into g5, bishop into g5. And yeah. Now king g7 looks pretty good, because queen f3, rook h8, and with the rook no longer on h1, this is not so good, because knight d2, queen e7, and somehow black is surviving very well. By the way, there is a very famous game in this system, which is Vidit versus Egglestone. I don't know if Egglestone versus Vidit. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but let me just show you that one. So it went e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop. Vidit is black. d6, d3, knight f6, c3, and Vidit castled a4, a5, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, and now he played the move g5. Opponent took hg, bishop g5, and now black's standard move in such positions, king g7. Queen f3 is again a standard move, putting pressure here. And he played rook h8. White played knight d2. Black played queen e7, h4. And here Vidit played the move bishop d7. He just developed his piece and he wants to bring his other rook to g8 like this over here. Rook a g8, and that would be completing his development. So bishop d5 was played in the game. I also believe that here a move like rook h6 makes a lot of sense, because if he takes, you take back, and you are now free. You have two pieces for a rook. You have bishop g4 coming up. I think black is just better. Otherwise, you can just go rook g6 next move. So bishop d7, bishop d5, rook a g8, knight c4, and now Vidit played an interesting move here. Let's see if you can spot it. Black to move. Yes, this is Eggleston Vidit, Isle of Man, 2018. Very good. Vijay Srinivasan, you know this. Excellent. The idea of rook h8 Mihir is just to, place the rook in a way where it can go to h6 and g6. That's one of the ideas. It's okay to sacrifice that rook. Yes, knight into d5 is what Vidit played here. Very good move, very strong move. If you take back with the pawn, then after f6, black is winning. And he took on e7, and after knight e7, Vidit went on to win this game in very good style. We wanted to see this game the other day, but because of bad internet, we couldn't have a look at it. But now I showed it to you. And this is another example that sacrifice on g5 is not always dangerous. In fact, here it was black who launched a dangerous attack. It was a killing attack actually. Take here, check, take, check. And finally, black just queened his pawn, he could have pushed, but actually this is also winning. It's a mate. Sorry. Vijay Srinivasan, when you play systems that do not allow bg5, what happens is often you waste a tempo with h6. And it's always a question between playing uncompromising chess or you want to play without any, like for example, here you could very well play instead of castle h6 first. It's a completely viable move. But then white gets a small edge because of this move. While if you play aggressively, like without any fear, and then if the opponent goes here, then you are fighting for an advantage, and after g5, it's quite possible you may rest over the initiative. Okay, so bishop b3, h6, knight d2, rook e8, knight f1, bishop e6, bishop c2, d5 was played. Nice move by Carlsen. We already know the e5 pawn is not hanging in such positions because of knight e5, and you have knight e5, rook e5, bishop f2, and altogether well known tactic. So knight g3, and now I want you to tell me what is the best move here for black. Black to move, best move for black. Yeah, in general, if something is uncomfortable but good, you should try to do it. Because it may give you a very good position. That's the reason why I am not recommending h6 very early to stop bg5. Vijay Srinivasan says, especially after seeing Prag versus SL Narayanan game. Yeah, that's another game actually, very interesting, but it came from a different line. It was the Rui Lopez. It was slightly different. Archangel's variation, if I'm not wrong. Queen d6 is Ilampathi's move. Avyaya Bhatt also says Queen d6. Nihilesh, Ryan Rajesh, knight e7 and queen d6 are main moves. Queen d6 is not bad, but the best move here is to take de. Very good move. De, and after queen d1, rook d1, rook a d8, you will see that this bishop actually doesn't have a good square to develop on. Let's assume if you take, I do not have entry points here, but where does this bishop develop? And that's quite a big problem. So therefore, if white tries to play something like rook e1 with the idea of bishop e3, then you can go rook e7 and later on rook d7, double down the d file. Yeah, knight h7, knight f5. I don't like that idea, but just simple chess. De, takes, and rook d8. Because you are ahead in development. Okay, so that was that game, and again, a few things to learn from it. Let's check one more game. Let's see if you can play. This is an important game. It's Wesley So versus Magnus Carlsen, and I want to see if you can play like Magnus. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. Yeah, Pushkar Raj, it's possible to develop bishop to e3 in the last position, but then I take and you get doubled pawns. Not the end of the world, but I like it for black. Knight f6, d3, castles, c3, d6, rook e1, a6, bishop b3, rook e8, h3, h6. Finally, it's a useful move. Also, you can now play bishop e6 next. So he played knight d2, bishop e6, knight f1, white took, queen takes, and now black to move. What will you play here as black? Black to play. Adrita Mitra in the Geico Piano and Rai Lopez. How to develop bishop on c1? Well, sometimes e3 is the natural place, sometimes g5. Sometimes you don't develop it for many moves and then it comes and sacrifices itself on h6. Queen d7 is possible, b5, okay. I'm not a big fan of that move, but looks pretty good. Queen d7, good job guys that you are ready to give up this pawn because the queen can be trapped here, but there's a better move here in this position, and that is the move d5. And this is what strong players do. If queen into b7, what is the problem? Can you tell me? Black to move. Queen into d7. Yeah, knight to a5. Queen is trapped. Remember, whenever you have a pawn on a6, knight a5 becomes very strong because all the squares are taken away. So he can't take. Let's assume after d5 he played bishop e3. What should black play now? Should he exchange the bishops or should he keep the bishops? Should he exchange? the bishop on e3, or should he keep the bishop on f8? Black to move. D into e4, Ilamparthi. I can take back, and if you take knight into e4, then now I can take this guy, because now this is hanging on e4. So the right move here is bishop f8. That is being played very good. All those who found it, keeping the bishop on the board is very good. Rook a d1. Now time for you to come up with another plan for black. What should black play? Black to move. How should black continue here? Yeah, Vidit fan, good move. Good move. Anyone else who thinks here for a good move for black? Ilamparthi, queen d7, not a bad move at all. Not a bad move. Prajwal, I like your move very much. Also Ryan Rajesh, good job. So the right move here is knight to a5 and pushing the queen back. And now black, what should black play here? Typical move. Let's see if you guys can understand. Black to move. Black to move. What should black play here? No, queen d4 is not the best. Like, first of all, it just loses a pawn. No one till now. Yes, Ilamparthi, very good guy, very good move. Anyone else who's found this move? Vidit fan, Avyaya Bhatt, Ryan Rajesh, Anish Godse. Good job, guys. c5. And now you have a Maroczy bind like a structure. Your knight is going to come back, and your black's position is to be preferred. I like black's position very much. Ed, queen d, and better position for black. Okay, so c5, ed, queen d5. He played knight c6. And then the end was pretty good. No real mistakes. And it resulted in a loss for Wesley So. Good move by Magnus, being very alert. And he managed to win this game. Very, very intense game that was played. And now he's a piece up and he won the game. Okay, so that was one game. And now looking at one last game, I think, against Vishy Anand. Let's see if you guys are able to guess Magnus's moves against the Indian legend, Vishy Anand. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, castles, knight f6, d3, d6, c3, a6, a4, and now bishop a7, knight a3. Black to move. What would you play here as black? I think Magnus was clearly a little bit afraid of castles because of bishop g5 and all the complications which come up with h6 g5 he didn't want. So he played knight e7, which is a very logical move, because now bishop g5 will be met with knight to g6, and then later on you can just push away with h6. So knight e7, very common idea of shifting the bishop. Knight c2 and castles, bishop e3 takes, a5, rook e1, knight g6, and so on. And once again, black managed to get a very comfortable position in this opening with his pawns and knight. Bishop may come out to e6 or c4, so on, and black is doing fine. Okay, so those were some of the games of Magnus that I wanted to show you to make you understand the secrets in this position. By the way, there is a DVD in this opening done by Wesley So on ChessBase, and today is the ChessBase sale. So it might be a good idea to get ChessBase India sale to get those DVDs. Wesley So on Italian from Black. It's like the Black Secrets by Wesley So in the Italian. And today and tomorrow we have a sale on the ChessBase India shop. So if you want to get Mega Database or ChessBase 15 or any of the DVDs, then please go to the website and get it. I put the link in the description so that you can read how big the sale is and what you can save on it. Okay. Anything else that you would like to ask me? I don't see too many things. You have to play and you have to analyze these openings well in order for you to gain an understanding of what's happening, what's going on. That's the main thing. But some of the ideas that I can just recap for you are that, first of all, we saw that black usually goes d6, knight f6, d6, a6, bishop a7. This is how he plays. Then he castles. He's not usually afraid of bishop g5. If he's afraid, then he can play h6 and castles, which gives him a slightly loss of a tempo there, but avoids bishop g5. Then you many times get your knight from e7 to g6. At the right moment, you break with d5. You are not afraid of losing the d5 pawn because your f2 pawn is equally weak. And these are some of the concepts that you must keep in mind. This, and whenever you see a game in the Italian, look at all these ideas of rook e8, bishop e6 trying to exchange the bishop, bishop b3, bishop c2 trying to avoid it, white playing bishop e3 on his own and trying to exchange. All of these things, try to analyze those games, play them online, and only then you can master it. Okay? Okay, all those who enjoyed the stream can like it. By the way, please let me know in the comments section in the chat whether you are enjoying this series. It's almost 19 sessions that we have conducted, and a lot of things we have covered, a lot of things yet to cover. But if you are enjoying it, let me know if you like the stream, if this is knowledgeable or if this is too tough for you. I would like to know. Who are the experts of the Italian? Well, I think all top players have played it. But if you want to look at, then you can look at the games of Anand. He is quite a big expert. Also Kramnik from both colors. So please have a look at it. Ilam Parthi says best ever. Okay, that's nice to know, Ilam Parthi, that you are finding it useful. Chandan CK says yes, enjoying. Okay, fantastic. Amrita Das, yes. Aditra Mitra, yes, he's enjoying. Anish Godse, good. Nandini Krishnan, yes. I keep forgetting the name, but Pushkar Salunke enjoying. Rudrasi enjoying very much. Sudipta Mandal, very enjoyable. Okay, fantastic. So there are several people who are enjoying this and are learning from it. So yeah, Mayur says I do enjoy it and I sometimes zone out due to tiredness, but it's okay because you can always go back and recheck them. Yeah. Okay. So if it's enjoyable for so many people, we'll continue it. And also, yeah, do like the stream, do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and do get yourself something from the Chessbase India shop for the discount this sale, mid-year sale that we have launched for 2 days, today and tomorrow. I have a stream at 8:30 now, which is I have to go and talk in an organization called Lions Club. I have to give a speech there about a life of a chess player and a chess professional. So I'll be doing that, and then it ends. I'll be doing a stream of chess versus the comedians versus teachers. So I'm teaching all of them in the morning, which will be quite intense, I guess. So a lot of work ahead, and also we are having a fundraiser for West Bengal cyclone. So in the coming week, so I'll let you know more about that tomorrow. What will be the next opening? You will get to know who will be the next guests. You will get to know. I'm looking at hoping to talk to people like Gukesh, Pragnananda, all these young stars of Indian chess who have so much experience to come and share with all of you. And I hope that they will come so. So, yeah, there's also Karo Khan that I'll be teaching. That will happen. I think that will happen. Maybe Swapnil will be back again to work with Karo Khan. And we also have to look at some lines in the Sicilian. So we'll be looking at that also. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow. See you tonight, by the way, on Samay stream, and then tomorrow in the morning and also in our lecture. Take care. Bye bye. See you.